Aloha. Uh, aloha. When I told my colleagues and my friends I was going to Florianopolis for a zero waste conference, many people in Hawaii know Florianopolis. They say, oh, it's the Hawaii of South America, yeah? Just as beautiful with as many beautiful people. So, and that is exactly what I've been experiencing. So there will be, I think, in the future, much good relationships between Florianopolis and Hawaii. And hopefully we'll see more Brazilians there as well. There's some facts about our island that is the background to some of our solid waste topics and issues. Our population in the total state is 1.2 million, and the state sees up to, with the visitors industry, the tourism industry, goes up to 6 million every year. My island that I live on, which in the Big Island, Honolulu is on Oahu, Waikiki area, Hawaii 5-0, you know. So I live on the Big Island, so I gave more specific details about my island as well. So on my island, it's only 175,000. But with visitors, every year we get 1.5 million. Our land mass, as you can see, the total is that much, and all of the islands actually fit into our island. And one of the greatest and most unique things about Hawaii, and the reason why we're striving to be a model for the world for many different areas, is because we have 12 of 13 climate zones in the state. So I believe the only one that we don't have is like Sahara Desert. There is snow in Hawaii, so you know, on the top of Mauna Kea and of Haleakala. We also have a very diverse population. As you can see, their primary group is the Asians of single race, and then it breaks down, and then there's 2 or more races, 21.4%. 90% of all goods are imported into our state. What Rick said earlier about our food, growing most of our food, that is not true actually. We do import 90% of our food as well. However, the reason why farmers were upset about the incinerator was because we are trying to promote sustainable agriculture through local food self-reliance. That's very important. We want to economically develop that market, but if we have an incinerator, who's going to want to eat our food? So because of the tourism, because of the land mass, we get average kilograms of waste per Hawaii resident per day is 4.2 kilograms. That is a lot. On our island, on the Big Island, 9.2. On Oahu, it's 10. Or 10 pounds, so I don't know how that would translate. But in Hawaii, as many of you know already, we are in between plastic islands, floating masses of rubbish. The one right here, 3.5 million tons of plastic, all knotted together. And because our islands is right at the Gulf Current, right there, how do I go back? Upper. Oh. Never mind. Because of that, this is our beaches. These are beaches all over Hawaii. We do cleanups every 3 months. And every time we go back, this is what it looks like. So all of this rubbish here is from all over the world. From Asia, from mainland USA. And it floats onto our beaches, and it's impacting our wildlife, our marine life, our dolphins, the food that we eat, the fish that we eat. We are now finding plastic debris in their bellies, and we are eating them. So this is an example of how and why we're here. Because What you do here impacts us. What we do where we are from impacts you. We are all connected in this world in that way. So your problem is our problem. Our problem is your problem. And we are trying to make those connections again between people and between ourselves and the earth. So this is an incinerator in Oahu. 2,100 tons per day of municipal solid waste that is burned. But you think that solves the problem? How many have you heard of our 20,000 tons of garbage waiting on a barge to sail to Washington? Washington State decided that they're not going to take our rubbish, and I don't blame them. Actually, it was the Yakama Native Americans who decided we don't want your rubbish in our rivers because where it was going was right next to a river. So they rejected it. So after 8 to 10 months of planning to send this barge over, it sat rotting, and then eventually they had to just break it apart and put it into the incinerator. There are other solutions, though, that are currently in the making. Zero waste Kauai. Kauai is the most northern island. It's a very small population, but they are doing a lot of education and outreach because they have landfills almost at capacity, almost full. Again, this is my island. This is our website. And these are very good. This actually is one of the most critical education outreach tools that we have. Zero Waste website receives, I think it's, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of visitors we get to this website from all over the world. A little bit of background about zero waste. Our county government passed a zero waste resolution in 2007. And during that time, where's the incinerator? Okay, during that time, a little bit shortly after the resolution, they needed to implement. So they hired me and I opened up the zero waste office. Upon opening the zero waste office, the idea is, as government, as county, municipal government, we need to be leaders. We cannot tell people what to do if we do not do it ourselves. So we began a county facilities zero waste program. Because of all of this, like Rick Anthony was saying, the mayor's proposal for incinerator was killed. And after the rejection of the incinerator, Rick Anthony and Associates came, worked with us, and developed a zero waste implementation plan, which was then approved as a part of the Integrated Solid Waste Management Plan update. It was a very big move because the idea is that it's not just solid waste management plan anymore. It was a resource management plan. It is no longer waste, it's a resource, and that word, that idea is very critical, right? How are you going to market this to people? So Rick Anthony actually came with his colleagues, and we did a large zero waste conference on our island that same year. So we did have 2 attempts, though, to have a plastic bag ban put through, and 2 different mayors rejected it. That's kind of what happened on our island. However, Kauai and Maui have a plastic bag ban starting January 1st, 2011. We were hoping that we could group with them and be able to really promote plastic bags because out of all of the materials in the solid waste stream on our island, plastic bags has become the most harmful. Cows are eating them, choking because they fly. They eat them, die, so our animals are dying. Our turtles, dolphins, and fish are eating them, so then the animals in our oceans are dying. However, I guess the mayors weren't convinced, so we are still working on that. 2 days before I arrived, we've been working we've been working on a organics program. We passed a organics resolution, organics out of the landfill resolution. I believe it was, I didn't put it up here, I believe it was in 2009 as well. And so because of that, we recently received approval for two new large-scale composting facilities. So that will include green waste, food discards, biosolids from wastewater treatment, and FOGs, fats, oils, and greases. This is very exciting for us. It's very large because we have a lot of tourism-based food discard. Because our island is an agriculturally based island, we have lots of green waste. So if we get all of these materials out, it almost immediately doubles our goals towards zero waste. And then currently, we are building a new civic center, LEED certified green building, US green building certification. And with this new LEED facility, we are implementing a zero waste, zero emissions program so that by 2020, this facility will be emission zero. We will have accomplished zero for emissions and solid waste. So if you look at the timeline, it took us probably from 2007 to 2010, really, to finally get action to happen, from paper to action. And it took a lot of convincing, and most of it was through education. It was the primary vehicle to get people to understand why it's necessary to address these issues with zero waste principles. So currently on our island, this was from a Hawaii Island Green Economy report as a part of the Mayor's Green Team, which is I am on. And waste and recycling reduction, there were 27 companies on our small island, and we're hoping to double that through the development of zero waste principles, creating jobs. With the downturn of the economy, we lost a lot of revenue from decreased tourism and decreased construction. So construction is our second largest industry on our island. So we're really looking to replace those jobs with green jobs. This is a map of how our system is set up in our island. We have 21 transfer stations. Everyone hauls to their transfer stations. So we make sure that they are conveniently located in as many districts as possible on our island. At these transfer stations, we have mixed recycling, 2 bins, 2-bin stream for plastics, papers, cardboard, newspaper, metals, things like that. And we also have high five bottle redemption. So the state of Hawaii has a bottle bill, which means when I go to the store and I buy a bottle of water, I pay 6 cents on top of the price of the bottle. And when I go to the recycle center, they give me 5 cents back. 1 cent is held by the state to run these centers. So then they give the money back to the counties, and then we are able to run multiple facilities for redemption. So when a resident goes to one of these sites, they have the trash bin, they have the recycle bin, they have high five bin. There are 2 sites, Hilo and Kailua, that have free drop-off for green waste. And it's used a lot, actually. And I'll do more on that program tomorrow. So one of the challenges for us right now is that Hilo, the one in the east, is an unlined landfill. Hilo gets over 200 inches of rain a year, and it is about to close in about 3 to 5 years. they still do not know what the plan is after the closure of this landfill. There is talk of hauling materials to a landfill on the west side. However, communities, obviously in between, do not want to have rubbish being hauled through their communities because one-lane highway the entire way, it's a difficult thing. This is our landfill waste composition. We did this as a part of our integrated solid waste management plan update. And it's just to show that, of course, organics is the main composition of our solid waste stream. This is a spreadsheet that shows all of the type of programs that we have. Green waste, metals and automobiles, where we take in for free abandoned vehicles or vehicles that are no longer in use, and we recycle the scrap metal. We also have a tires program to recycle tires. We have a paper, obviously, to recycle paper. All the plastics, fats, oils, and greases, glass, recycling education and outreach, and the special diversions programs such as reuse, household hazardous waste, used motor oil, electronic waste, latex paint, and a waste reduction and recycling through an EPA grant that is no longer active. So how this works actually is these programs right here, this special diversion program, I was explaining to some people yesterday that these businesses that take in materials from the public actually then get paid by the county for a certain amount per ton so that they can offset their costs to support their business. So if they don't send it to the landfill and somehow find another use for them, we will pay them money, rather than them having to pay $85 a ton for dumping it into the landfill. Okay. So currently right now in the county, our diversion rate is 36%. However, this is only the municipal transfer stations. This does not include diversion rates by the private sector. For example, food discards diversion, so food's going to piggeries, and composting projects that we do not collect that data for. Big box stores like Walmart and places like that, they actually have their own corporate recycling where they send back their pallets and their plastics, their plastic films back to the mainland for reuse. We also have many resorts and hotels who do on-site commercial green waste programs. So our total solid waste fund is $34 million, and 6 of that goes towards diversion and recycling. So our solid waste fund comes from the general funds of general taxes and also from landfill tip fees, which is $85 a ton. Last but not least, this is the last slide, and I do this because I want people to remember this, because I see so many students here. They are the most important people here today. It is not us. It's not the people talking. It is these young students who are here who are actually caring. You know how difficult it is to find not just young people, but people in general who actually care and who actually make an effort to come out. So I want everybody to really get an opportunity to speak with these students and see what their concerns are, because they are the ones that are going to be developing this in the future. I unfortunately probably won't see zero waste Mother Earth, right? But I hope that these students one day will. Part of our education program, and the reason why this past year our recycling rate went up 8% is specifically because of this. Before, it went up only 0.8% every year. But last year, it went up 8% because we started the Green Business Program, we started the Green Schools Program, and we started the Zero Waste Event Program. Ironman Triathlon comes to our island. We have large-scale events that come like that to our island every year. And because of that, we help them with waste audits, we help them with strategic planning and implementation, education, training, workshops, presentations, and then in the end, program assessment and measurements. And we do this all for free to these businesses and these schools, because in the end, the county saves money, okay? So I wish I could say a lot more, but at this point, I guess I'm done. Okay.